Okay. So what I want to do with you guys is I want to start reviewing for your EOI. And the way that we do this, we're just going to come up with some things that will help you get through your test. And if you'll pay attention, it will drastically help you. Okay, so remember, I do give rewards for performing well on your EOI. So our EOI is May 5th, and we're going to do packets. So the first packet, if you'll notice, you've got 1 through 10 questions for rational exponents. You have 10 questions for radical expressions, and you have 10 questions for polynomial and rational expressions, and then another 10 for complex numbers. So whatever we go through today, we'll do together, pay attention, and then you're going to do the others just like that for homework. Okay? So whenever I get back, you'll be able to turn that in, we'll go over them. So today we're going to go over the rational exponents, and maybe if there's time, we'll go over rational expressions as well. So what I want to do is every single day when we come in, we are going to clear our calculators because that's really important to do. So what I want you to do is grab your calculator, go ahead and turn it on. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to clear the memory every single day, because when you get to your test, it's going to be cleared the minute you walk in the door. And so I want you to have good practice with how to clear the memory of your calculator. So we are going to press the second button up here. And then down here, see, right above the plus, there's a little blue MEN. And so that's what I'm trying to get to is the memory menu. So we'll press plus. All right, and you should have a menu that looks like this. So what we want to do is we want to reset. So if you look at this option down here, option 7, you can either press 7 or you can arrow down to 7. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to press 7. Now this is kind of like asking you, what do you want to do? So what we want to do is we want to clear all RAM. So I'm just going to press enter because it's already got the one selected. And then this is kind of like, are you sure you want to? You know, or do you not want to? Yeah, we do. So we're going to press 2 to reset. And you should get a menu up here that says, yay, you did a good job. Okay, it doesn't technically say that, but you know what I mean. Okay, so now what I want to do is we're going to use a couple tricks that I've learned the last couple of years, mainly last year, I think. And this is vital for this to work. So you have to go to your y equals, and we are going to put in an equation. Now technically it doesn't really matter what equation you put in, but we're going to put in a specific one. We're going to do x squared. So press x and squared. So you should have this equation in your y1. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually pick a value for x, because right now your value is either 10 or 0, and it really just depends on what your calculator is. So what we're going to do is we're going to press second, and then we're going to go up here to the trace. Everybody see the trace right here? So press trace. So that brings up the calculator menu. And then option number 1 right here is value. All right, that's what we want. We want to pick a value. So we're going to press enter. Now sometimes my screen freezes up, and during my recording it doesn't graph my thing. Okay? So right now I'm recording this, and I have no idea if it's going to graph it for you or not. But anyways, it really doesn't matter. That's not the point. When it pops up, you're going to have an x equals with a flashing box right here. So we're going to pick a value for x, and I want everybody to pick the same exact value. So we're all going to pick 3. So just put a 3 in there, press enter. It does some wacky thing. Okay, it tells you when x is 3, y is 9. All right. We don't really care about that. I just wanted to pick a value for x. So x is 3. Now what I want to do is I want to go back to the regular screen. So we're going to press second and mode. Remember, mode is right here next to the second button. And what I want you to do is press X and enter. And if you notice, it tells you x is 3. So essentially what we've done is we've made the variable equal to 3. Okay, we don't want it equal to 0, and we don't want it equal to 1 because it doesn't always work that way. But if we pick something like 3, it's going to be good. All right. Now what I want to do is we're going to go ahead and get into the packet. So if you look at the first problem of the rational exponents, all right, and I can't project this up there, so what I'm going to do is just write the problem. Okay, so I've got k to the 6 over 5. Now, the thing about variables is it doesn't matter what letter represents a variable, it's still a variable. So every time you have a variable, what I want you to do is just think of it as an x instead of that variable. So we're going to say this is x to the 6/5. Now I've told you guys before, you cannot work a problem out and put in an x in your calculator. All right? That's because it technically doesn't come out. All right? But here's the deal. We picked a number for x. And you guys remember when you do substitution, okay? It would be kind of like we picked 3 for x, right? In our calculator, we chose 3 to be x. So if we said 3 to the 6/5, all right, you plug that in your calculator. And I'm not going to pull the calculator up, but if you do plug that into your calculator, you are going to get 3.737 roughly. All right, this is what shows up on my calculator. Okay, so if I plug this in my calculator, this is what I get because I'm substituting a 3. Well, think of this. If I already picked x to be 3, all right, my x is 3. If I say x and I raise that to the 6 divided by 5 power, I get that same thing, 3.737192819. That's because my calculator is saying, hey, x is 3. So when I put in x in my calculator, it's actually plugging in 3 for x. Now, the reason I'm doing it this way is because look at all of your answer choices. All right? They all involve just a k. All right? So let's say part A, we think of that as x, and then it's got the 5th root of x. Okay, answer choice B, we can say that that's the 6th root of x to the 5th. Answer choice C, you got 6/5 times x, and D would be 5/6 times x. So here's the deal. They want to know what's another way of writing this, okay, or if I'm using an x, what's another way of writing this? So it would equal the same value if I were to plug 3 in, right? So in your calculator, what you can do is you can put in every answer choice. And once you get one that matches the answer you got when you plugged this in, then you've found the correct answer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our calculators and we're going to do that with every single answer. All right? So for instance, answer A. You've got k, which we're using x, so x times, and then we have the 5th root of k. So I'm going to say 5. Then I'm going to come up here to the math menu. Remember, math is right here under the screen, alpha. And I'm going to choose that root down there, option number 5. See how it gives me a 5th root? And then I'm going to plug in x. All right, I press enter. Look at that. It matches perfectly. Okay, you can go through and do all of the other ones as well. None of them are going to work. All right, so I'm going to do answer choice B just so you can see that it doesn't come out the same. So it's a 6th root, so I press 6, go to my math menu. I want that root down there, so I'm going to press option 5. Okay, and then I'm going to put in k to the 5th, so x to the 5th. Press enter. and I got 2.498. That's because when I plug 3 in here, which is what your calculator is doing, it's not the same value. Okay, so the answer for this one is A. Okay, so take a look at problem number 2. Problem number 2 doesn't have any variables, right? But I'm still going to kind of do it the same. So problem number 2, I've got 3 raised to the negative 2/3. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug that in my calculator. Okay, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to plug in every single answer choice until I get the same decimal. So first things first, we are going to plug in 3 and raise that to negative 2 divided by 3. Alright, this is the decimal that I get. So now I'm going to go through, I'm going to plug in answer choice A. Now if you notice, that's a big fraction, so I'm going to go ahead and get my pretty print up here. So I press alpha, that green button up here, and the y equals. And remember, I want that first option that says n over d. So on top I have 1. On bottom I have the square root of 3 to the 3rd. So second x squared, 3 to the 3rd. And then I'm going to press enter. Now, did I get the same thing here as I did in my original problem? No, so I can mark out A. A is not the proper answer. So now we're going to go down to answer B. A negative, and then I need a cubed root. And you don't have to press 3 and then the math thing. You can just say math, and we have a cube root option, which is option 4. And then I've got 3 to the 2nd. Now, did I get the same thing as I got in my original problem? No. So I'm going to mark B out, and I'm going to go to C. So again, I need that fraction. I've got 1 over the cubed root of 3 squared. So I've got math, option number 4. And then underneath my root, I have 3 squared. Enter. Alright, and if you'll notice, I got the same thing that I originally had. Okay, you can't see mine anymore, it's off my screen, but you can scroll up. So 0.4807498,568. Okay. So I know that the answer is C. Alright. Now remember, if you have questions about these, a good thing might be is out to the side maybe of the question. If you didn't understand what I was talking about, since I'm not here to answer questions, you can always write the question down that you had, and then when I get back, we'll review over this, and you can ask me that question. But please, please do not forget the question. Write it down. Okay? All right, number 3. Number 3 is a little bit different because it has more than one variable. Alright, so we're originally starting off with 256x squared, y to the 6th, z to the 4th, raised to the 1/4. Alright, now remember, a variable is a variable. And they're not telling us what x is or what y is or what z is. They just want to know, hey, which one matches. Okay, so every time you have any type of variable, you're going to plug an x in for it. So instead of this being x, y, z, it's just going to be x to the 2nd, x to the 6th, x to the 4th, raised to the 1/4. So we're going to start and get a value for this. So we're going to plug that in first. So we have parenthesis 256 x squared x to the 6th x to the 4th parenthesis to the 1/4. All right, if you like to do a fraction thingy there, that's fine. It doesn't matter. All right, so I got 108. And remember, right now our calculator thinks that x is 3, so it's technically plugging in 3 for all of that. All right, so now we're going to go through here. I'm going to do one of the wrong answers, and then I'll do the right answer. That way it doesn't take up so much time. So let's do answer A. If I do 16, then we have an x. Then they've got y to the third, but we're going to do x to the third. And then they have z squared, but we're going to do x squared. Press enter. And I'm looking to see if I'll get something that matches 108. And if you notice, that's way off. All right. So now let's drop down to answer D. This is actually the answer. So we've got 4. Then you've got an x, or a y, and a z. So we're just going to do x and then another x in place of the y and z. Then you've got square root of x and y. So we're just going to do x and then another x. And then we're going to press enter. And if you notice, I got 108. Okay, so the answer is D. Biggest thing to take away from this lesson is that all I want you to do is plug in an x for every single variable. Okay? And if you don't have any variables, you just plug in your calculator. All right? So I'm going to stop there. That's going to leave you with 6 of them to do. Okay? And they are all 6 just like that. So you are responsible for 4 through 10. I guess that's 7 problems. Okay. All right. And I want to do a little bit of radical expressions. So if you can turn to radical expressions, should be the next section over. This is going to work exactly the same. All right. You have all these variables, and they just want to know which one will give me the same result. Okay. So what we're going to do is, let's just start with number 1 under radical expressions. So number 1. Now, I do not like how they have this written. Okay. They actually have it written with a division sign to the side over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it underneath because I like that much better. And there's less room for error. So keep that in mind. Every time you have a division bar out here, just make it the actual bar over the second thing. Okay? Now I'm going to make you do this by hand. Again, we are just doing test-taking strategies. So what I want you to do is plug it in just like it is. So in my calculator, I'm going to go ahead and clear all this out because it's annoying to look at. Y'all are welcome. Okay, we're going to plug that in. So I need a fraction bar. So I'm going to do alpha y equals and choose that first option right there. All right, so on top I've got 6x squared. So 6x and then choose squared. Then I have a square root. So second x squared gives me the square root. 21x to the 8th. All right, and now I want to go down to that bottom box where I have 2 times the square root of 7x to the 4th. And just a note to whoever's showing the video, if they need more time to plug that in, you can always pause it. Make sure that they're a little slower than I am sometimes. So, no offense, guys. I'm trying to be more peppy because you guys said that I wasn't peppy enough. So, you know, I'm in here talking to myself. Hope you guys are happy. Okay, so we're going to get an answer for that. All right, now, I do want to point this out. If you are getting something different than everybody else, or if you're getting a number that's different from what I have, it's probably that your value of x has changed and is different than mine. Now, since we started off and we've done all the same things, I would think that it would stay the same. But it doesn't matter if you're getting that or not. If you get an answer, then when we get an answer, yours should match your answer. Okay? That might have been a little confusing, but if you have a question about that, write it on your paper. Okay? So I got this. You might get something different. Just make sure that you've plugged this all in at the same time. And we're going to try answer A. So I've got 3x raised to the 7 over 5. So 7 divided by 5. Now make sure you get out of the exponent here. And then you've got square root of 3. So I'm going to press enter. And remember, I'm just looking for this and this to match. Okay? So remember, yours might be a different number than what I have. So just keep that in mind. So obviously, that doesn't match. So now we're going to try answer C. All right, let's try answer C. So then I've got 3x to the 4th. And then I've got square root of 3. See how I've got a matching answer here, matching answer here. So your answer might be different. You might get something here, and then it might be different from my number, but it still matches this one. At least it should. Okay? Just make sure that you have that correct value of x that we picked earlier. All right? So the answer is C. All right, 2 is exactly the same, so I'm not going to do 2. 3. If you look at 3, you have no variables anyways. So you're just going to plug that directly into your calculator. Then you're going to plug in all of your answers until you get the one that matches that. Okay? Same thing on 4, same thing on 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, and then finally on 9 and 10 you have variables again. So just remember on 10 that you want to do that big division bar like we did on this one up here. All right. Hope you guys are getting this, you know. As I'm in surgery, you're learning. Okay. Well, I guess I'm not in surgery anymore, am I? No. I'm probably at home, laying down. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about the polynomial and rational expressions as well. And I think what we'll do is we'll do a few of these, and I'll probably have a little bit of time to do the others. Yeah, we'll call that for a different day, but we can go ahead and do polynomial and rational expressions. All right, so you are going to do these exactly like we just did the last two sections. Okay, so for instance, on number 1, they want you to simplify. Now remember, on this test they tell you simplify by doing this, do this to it, but nobody is standing behind you saying, hey, you didn't do it that way, so I'm not letting you count that problem, okay? You do it, and you get it done, and you be successful at it. So what you're going to do is you're just going to plug it in exactly like it looks. So polynomial and rational expressions, number 1. We're going to clear this out because I don't like to see it. All right. So we're going to get our little fraction bar, and I'm going to plug it in. 9x squared minus 3x minus 12. And then on bottom, I'm going to put in 3x minus 4. All right, make sure that, on your EOI, you can take all the time that you want. Okay, there's no time limit, nothing, so don't rush. Make sure you look at it, you've got the right thing written down. Go ahead and press enter. So we're looking for 12, okay? Or if your number's different, that's what you're looking for, okay? The only thing you don't want is if you end up with a 0 over here, you need to reset your value of x again, okay? All right, so we're going to go through the answers. Let's try answer A. 3x minus 3. All right, I got 6. That's not right. Let's try answer B. 4x minus 2. All right, I got 10. That's not right. Let's try answer C. 3x plus 4. All right, I got 13. That's not right. So let's do 3x plus 3. I got 12, which is what I'm looking for. Okay, so the answer is D. Okay, 2 and 3, same exact thing. Plug them in like they look, and then plug in all of your answers until you find the one that matches. All right, let's look at 4. 4 is a little bit different. Not a whole lot, but mainly just because, you know, it has an M and an N. But remember, guys, what are we going to plug in for the M and the N? We're going to plug in an X every single time. I would have said, yay, good job, but, you know, if you didn't answer, then it'd be like, she's kind of stupid. But you might be thinking that anyways. So, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in X's for all of it in our original problem. So we've got X to the 4th, X to the 3rd. So, before you do that, we need our division bar. So alpha y equals, going to press enter. Now I've got my division bar. Okay, now I'm happy. So we've got X to the 4th, and don't be like me and leave your thingy up there. All right, then you got X to the 3rd, then a plus sign, 16, X to the 3rd, X squared. All right, then you got plus 8, X to the 2nd, X. Drop down, 2, X squared, X. So, same exact kind of problem, only this time instead of M's and N's, we have X's. So we're going to press enter. So I am looking for 233 over 2. You might have a decimal depending on the settings in your calculator, which if you reset your calculator like you were supposed to, you should be getting all of the same stuff that I'm getting. Okay, so 233 over 2. So now we're going to go through the answer choices, and I'm not doing all of them. I'm just going to do some of them. So let's do answer A. You got X squared, X squared. Oops, missed my squared. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. X squared plus 8, X plus 4. All right, we got 157, not 233 over 2. So let's drop down and try answer D. Okay, so I need a little fraction bar. So I've got X squared all over 2, then arrow over, plus 8x plus 4. And looky there, 233 over 2, 233 over 2, answer is D. Okay, and if you look through the rest of those, they're all exactly the same. So, we did several. You have 30 total on there. Now, if you notice, the last one is complex numbers, and that is different. You can't do complex numbers like that. It's one of the few things that you actually have to work out. So, we're going to skip that section for today. We'll save that for another time. Now, what I want you guys to know is I do not want you throwing the packets away. All right, you need to keep the packets because we are reviewing until May 5th. Okay, we will review every single day. All right, eventually we'll have a test to see how you're going to do. And I promise you guys, if you will pay attention and work your hardest to do well on this, you're going to do awesome. So, I think that's all I've got for today. So for the rest of the hour, if you have time left, which I'm pretty sure you do because I've been timing myself and I'm at like 29 minutes. So what I want you to do is finish off those 30. Now, I'm not sure if I will be back on Monday or not, so just have it done. Okay? Monday, I'll give you a new packet if I'm not here, and you guys will go over the new packet, and I'll have a video for that too, hopefully. like I said, complex numbers, that section at the back, the last 10, hold that, okay, until I'm actually in person to talk about that. And remember, if you have questions, write them down, put stars next to something, I don't know, do whatever you do, hole punch, put in your binder, do not lose the packet, okay? These are all participation grades. I will make you write things in words, so, you know, when you have to anyways. Participation. So for those of you who need a grade boost, this could be your chance. Alright, these are easy. We're going to do packet after packet after packet, and then we'll do some Study Island stuff. I also might just put you in Study Island on Monday to do some practice problems from these 3 sections. So be prepared to do that as well, just in case I decide to do that. I haven't decided yet. So, alright. That's all I have to say. Behave for your sub. I should have said that at the beginning, but you know what I mean. Alright, I'll see y'all when I get back.